One of the things that you said tonight was to look higher. And sometimes I feel like that can be easier said than done when you're in the thick of it and you feel like you're being beat down and everyone's just like, turn to God, look higher. And it can be almost like they're saying it just to kind of move the conversation along. How do we, when we are in the middle of those struggles, how have you guided yourself to look higher to get to that point where you actually can?
I was inspired by Desmond Doss, who as an Adventist was a non-combatant, didn't believe in bearing arms because of the traumatic childhood he had. Yet after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, he felt the obligation to enlist and serve his country, but not with a gun. He wanted to be a medic, and he was mistreated, he was misunderstood, and he learned, save me, help me. He got court-martialed. They wanted to put him in prison for the rest of the war, and the Lord delivered him. But the moment that really changed my life was when he was in battle. I was preaching to American troops in Germany one year. I used to go about every other year to preach to the American troops and who were rotating in and out of Baghdad or Iraq or Afghanistan. And, a rock and roller saying to them, comedians tell them dirty jokes, why can't a preacher come in and preach?
Right.
So,
all right.
Well, one year, Desmond Doss was there. And now, when you talk about humble, again, a very unassuming, humble, loving man. And it was when he was up on Hacksaw Ridge that night, he's going to get off the cliff as the last guy. And they took huge casualties, and most of the unit was decimated that he served in, and the whole, anyway, just go right down the list. And he cried out, I can't hear you. He told God, I can't hear you. And at that moment, he hears the cries of wounded men, medic, help me.
Wow.
And he heard the voice of God for service. He turns around, and for the rest of the night, lowers 74 wounded men, including 4 wounded Japanese soldiers who successfely who died not long after being lowered of their wounds. I can't hear you. And I learned to say that too. There are moments when I'm discouraged, where I hit the wall, where my opponents scored against me, and I'm hurting terribly, and I'm in the car, and I just say, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And then I get a phone call, Pastor, can you come and pray with me? I'm in the fix with this and this. To look a little higher is to look beyond yourself and your own needs and your own opinions to others. And I think when Ellen White had that vision, she learned to look above it all. Because right now as a nation, we're not looking very high. We're looking at each other and really divided. And as believers, this is our opportunity. We can come together and look a little higher.
Yeah.